Hi, this is Jeff Morgan with Northwest Fly Fishing Outfitters, and today we're going to attempt our take on a Scandinavian streamer classic, the Minky. Let's get started. All right, so the Minky is a traditional Scandinavian streamer. It's become quite popular in Europe over the past 25, 30 years. And it utilizes a strip of mink fur for the back. And, well, you may not have mink fur handy. We can substitute a rabbit strip for that. And that's probably what we're going to do today. But the key to a Minky is having it either float or sink. And there's two different versions. One has booby eyes on it and a foam underbody that allows it to float up. This version is going to be a sinking pattern. And so we're going to add a large number of lead wire wraps here to give it a good heavy base. So you can see I'm wrapping this almost the entire length of the body. Break that off. I'm using lead-free wire because I might use this fly in Yellowstone Park, and they do not allow any lead on your flies. So we're going to take our thread. It's 6/0 unithread. Any 6/0 thread will work for this. You might even go with a 3/0 if you wanted to work some heavy-duty materials in here. But 6/0 should work just fine. So we're just going to cover that lead core to get that secure. Bring that to the back end. And one feature on a lot of Minky flies is a bright hot spot. And we're going to use some chartreuse wing post material here, some Antron yarn. We're just going to double it over itself. So we tie it near the end of the fly, right around the hook point, double it backwards. So we have a nice little fluorescent green pop at the back end of this fly. I'm going to cut it long to start. We can always make it shorter if we need to. Can never make it longer, can always make it shorter. Now, in terms of the material, like I said, you can use mink or you can use rabbit strips. This here is a hairline rabbit strip. It's a little more easy to find for most tires. We carry this in the shop, and we're going to cut a strip of that. And whenever you tie in a rabbit wing for a zonker or a Matuka style fly, which this is kind of a Matuka style fly, we always want to separate the fur so that when you tie it down, the wing remains seamless. So you try to get that separation point right above where your thread is hanging. And I'm going to take my thread and flip it over one time just to get that first wrap down, and then I can let go and give it a few more wraps with my thread. The idea is to tie down as little fur as possible. If you do tie some down, use your scissors or a bodkin to help get some of those trapped hair fibers out so that you can kind of barely see the tie down point for that wing. All right, now we're going to pull that wing back here, and we're going to tie in some fine silver wire. You can use fine gold wire. You could use a colored wire if you choose. But this is going to help secure that wing to the body. This is a big fish fly, so we want to make sure it's as durable as possible so it's not a one fish fly. I'm going to get that copper wire or that silver wire pointed backwards on there. Next, we're going to dub some body material here, and I'm going to use some Laser Dub Dark, another hairline product here. Has a little bit of sparkle to it, has some bulk. We're just trying to make this as kind of buggy as possible. Go ahead and get quite a bit of dubbing on here. Be kind of thick with this because it is a bulkier fly. We can kind of pull the wing back here as we start to apply the dub. That'll make it easier to keep a relative proportion to the body. Get some more dubbing on here. I like this laser dub because it has some flash in it, but it's not as kind of bold and glaring as like a zonker fly would be, which can also be a really good fly for large trout and smallmouth. But sometimes the fish are in the mood for something a little more subtle, and that's where this type of fly comes into play. And continue dubbing that up toward the head. Another reason why I like this dubbing is it's kind of mottled. So it's not a uniform shade of underbody. All right, so we created that body. It's kind of cigar shaped. Pull this wing over the top. And to secure this wing, what we're going to do is we're going to wrap our copper wire through, our silver wire through. And every time we're going to pull that wing forward like that. And as you bring that wire through, it helps to wiggle it a little bit. And that's going to help prevent trapping of these furs, because with each wiggle that you make, it's going to dislodge some of the hair fibers that are trying to get trapped. Now you're still going to trap some. We're going to have to pick them out near the end. But as we bring that forward, I'll give it a couple extra wraps here into the head. Make sure that stays tight. We'll tie down, cut off that wire, pull the rabbit strip forward, tie that down. All right, we can cut off excess strip. Another wrap or two, just make sure that's secure. And at this point, I'm going to go through with my scissors or a bodkin and try to pick out some of these loose fibers. In fact, I'm going to use a spare hook here to do that job. If you don't have a bobbin handy, the next hook up can do the job just fine. So we're going to get fibers out. There we go. All right, and then for the color on this fly, we're going to use some mottled or speckled hen back feathers. These are soft, webby feathers, really good for wet flies and streamers. If you don't have any, they're a good multi-tool in your fly tying chest. So we're going to just tie in one of these feathers near the front. Just give it a wrap or two, just to give this a little bit of pattern to the front of the fly. Go ahead and cut off the excess here. Hold this down. Construct our head. And we'll go to whip finish. And we're done. And that's it. This is a simple baitfish pattern. Doubles as a leech pattern. Effective for both trout and smallmouth. Fishing on a sink tip line in lakes or a full sink line in lakes. And again, you can tie this as a weighted version with the lead as the underbody as we tied on this version, or you can add booby eyes to the front and an underbody of foam to make a floating minky. As rabbit fur is quite buoyant, if you ever cast this out with no weight on the body, this thing is going to hang right in the surface until you fish it for about a half hour and that wing gets fully soaked. So it is essential, if you want this fly to get down, give it a nice heavy series of wraps of lead or lead-free wire underneath the body. So that's the Minky. Give it a shot this summer for your favorite smallmouth or trout strain.